Under the same moon, we share the love. Embracing the differences like hand in glove. Spreading peace and joy, it's a beautiful sight. Together we shine in each other's light. United we stand in love's pure might. Watching the world share in love and light. Hearts beating as one in our peaceful flight. Colors of harmony painting the night. United we stand in love's pure might.
All right. Thank you guys for tuning in to Watching the World. I look forward to having an exciting conversation with you guys tonight. We're going to be talking about a subject that's near and dear to a lot of people's minds and hearts right now. A lot of people last night were responding to the video we previously did in regards to the homeless bill. We are expecting some guests tonight, so we'll stay tuned to see when they pop in. But until that happens, we're going to go over a couple of things in regards to finances. As you know, yesterday we went through a video in regards to Donald Trump talking about some companies that could potentially be very rewarding when it comes to your finances if you invest properly. We have quite a few people in the audience already. Shout out to you, Bordeaux. We have Mashona. We also have Sharon in the building as well. Good evening to you as well. So we're going to get right into this video. We're going to do a recap, but this time we're going to have some audience participation. So I'm going to have some in the audience look up some of these stocks and tell us where we are. And if you had invested as of yesterday, based on Friday's market, how much money you would have potentially made or lost as a case study while we wait on certain individuals to pop in to the show. So let's start off first with the video in regards to Donald Trump speaking at this event and talking about several companies. Let's tune in here.
I think we lost David McCormick, who's voting. So why is David here? Because you're supposed to be voting, Ted. I don't know. I'll tell you what, this man works hard. Ted works hard and he works good. And a very special thanks to some of the top industry leaders here, including somebody that's amazing. I said, look, we'll break this guy up. This is before I learned the facts of life. I said, we'll break him up. They said, don't say it's very hard. I said, why? I said, what percentages of the market does he have? Sir, he has 100%.
Okay, so in regards to Nvidia, Donald Trump is basically saying when it comes to this company, they own 100% of the market. Pretty much that's how much they have the market cornered when it comes to these high performing chips.
I said, who the hell is he? What's his name? His name is Jensen Huang, Nvidia. I said, what the hell is Nvidia? I've never heard of it before. He said, you don't want to know about it, sir. I figured we could go in and we could sort of break him up a little bit, get him a little competition. And I found out it's not easy in that business. I said, supposing we put the greatest minds together and they work hand in hand for a couple of years. He said, no, it would take at least 10 years to catch him if he ran Nvidia totally incompetently from now on. So I said, all right, let's go on to the next one. And then I got to know Jensen, and now I see why. Jensen, will you stand up? What a job. What a job you've done. Man. Great. He's a great guy, too. Lisa Su of AMD. Lisa?
Okay,
Lisa?
So let's take a look at the numbers. So could the first person to tell us where Nvidia is right now, they will receive $20. So we know where it was as of yesterday. Tell us where is Nvidia today and how much money you would have potentially made if you had invested first thing this morning. So we'll have someone look it up. The first person to state how much Nvidia is worth, $177.31. Okay, thank you, Mashona. You win the $20. So basically, at the beginning of the market, Nvidia was 175. So you would have made roughly $2 and something a share. Not too bad. Let's look at the next one that he discusses. I think he mentioned it already. It was AMD. So the first person to tell us how much was AMD. And yesterday, remember, I showed you guys how to look this up pretty easy. Let's see how much you would have made. AMD was at $161 as of Friday at 4:30 p.m. Let's see how much money you would have made today.
Thank you. Congratulations. Great job. Sham Senekar of Palantir, who buy a lot of things.
Okay, so let's go back a little bit where he talks about AMD.
Lisa? Thank you. Congratulations. Great job. Sham Senekar of.
Okay, so Mashona says again, thank you, Mashona, for looking that up. So AMD that Donald Trump mentioned as of last week in this particular video. And remember how we said it often pushes the market. Just to give you a basis of how the market works, a lot of you have expressed interest in trying to make money with the market. So AMD already is up to $174. So basically that stock has gone up 4.32%. You would have roughly made $13 per share. And you can see that a lot of this is based on what Donald Trump was saying and actually pushing the market with his conversation. So it gives you a general idea of how the market can work. The third one that he mentioned was which company? Palantir. And I think as of today, Palantir had went down actually maybe about 80 cents. But let's see who's the first person. So far, Mashona is winning all the prizes. Let's see where the third company that he just mentioned, Palantir. Where's Palantir right now, folks?
Of Palantir. We buy a lot of things from Palantir. Where are you? Are we paying our bills? I think so. We just made a deal with the European Union where they're going to pay the United States of America 100% of the cost of all military equipment. They're going to ship it to the European Union and then they'll distribute it. And much of it will go to Ukraine. It's been a long time since you've heard those words because we're in for $350 billion. But now we send it to Europe and Europe pays. And they were great. We had a tremendous NATO meeting a few weeks.
Okay, so like in the case of Palantir, it went down 0.57%. Okay, so we're talking now probably it went down to what, about 70 cents or so. So you see how the market can fluctuate just by means of a conversation that the president was having or giving a speech. It could have a great bearing on the market, although there's many different factors, but this gives you an idea. We're going to continue to monitor these stocks to see how they do over time. So basically tonight we're going to be discussing the bill in regards to the homeless individuals. So if anyone would like to come up and join in the discussion, feel free to do so. We would love to have you up on the panel. We have some individuals that are supposed to be coming through to discuss this matter. So until then, though, we're going to cover a few other clips that are currently in the media in regards to Donald Trump. We have Bordo. Bordo says, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are glad to see you. Please like, share, and subscribe. Okay. Thank you very much, Bordo, for those words. Okay, we have Eric in the building as well. About an hour and 30 minutes ago. Okay. We also have Deborah in the building. Oh, wow. They had a shooting in Midtown, New York City. Wow. Was it a mass shooting or we'll have to look that up. Could you tell us more, Eric, about what happened in regards to that? Eric says, good evening, Mel, Michonne. Okay. Thank you very much. I did not hear about this shooting that had occurred, but I can imagine it's quite devastating. Here locally where I live at in Fishkill, we had an individual today get ran over at the construction site that I pass by every morning. He was ran over by one of those excavators, and it's all over the news as well. So a lot of things are happening, folks, and maybe we'll get more information. Okay, so Eric says in regards to the shooting that happened in Midtown, New York, it looks like 3 people lost their lives. Wow, that's amazing. Very sad to hear that. Eric says 345 Park Avenue office buildings. Oh my. Okay, Mashona says if you want to join the conversation, turn on your camera and be respectful and join us for the conversation. Okay, thank you very much. And also thank you to also Bordeaux as well. Thank you guys all for your support. So as we wait on a few individuals to come in, we're going to look at a couple of videos in regards to that we often discuss clips in relation to Donald Trump, but these 2 clips I think could have a bearing on how the market goes because it deals with Donald Trump, especially when it comes to Ukraine as well as Russia. And it seems that he's taking on water because in many cases Donald Trump is not meeting his goal, or he has not met his goal in resolving the problem of the war between Russia and Ukraine. Billy Elliott says, "Is this the news, brother?" Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Billy. Shout out to you. So let's get right to it. We're going to start off with our first video in regards to Donald Trump speaking about Russia.
4 times maybe, but we've had discussions. You and I have had discussions. Yeah. We thought we had that settled numerous times. And then President Putin goes out and starts launching rockets into some city like Kiev and kills a lot of people in a nursing home or whatever. You have bodies lying all over the street. And I say that's not the way to do it. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm very disappointed. I'm disappointed in President Putin. Very disappointed in him. So we're going to have to look, and I'm going to reduce that 50 days that I gave him to a lesser number because I think I already know the answer what's going to happen.
Okay, so when it comes to this war, it looks like Donald Trump is having some issues trying to make a deal. Remember when he was running for president, he talked about how he can make this deal with Putin and perhaps even Ukraine and bring them to the table and perhaps stop all this nonsense when it comes to killing and taking senseless lives. But we see that he has not been able to do this. Robert Wingate says, "Why do people love the fascist, racist felon?" Well, that's a good question. We hear a lot of those questions here on this channel. A lot of people are not happy with Donald Trump. Let's see. Gear Jammer, welcome back. Good to see you back. He says, "Praise our leader, Donald Trump." All right. So we have people in the audience that praise Donald Trump. We also have a lot of people that pretty much are very unhappy with Donald Trump. So what do you guys think is the issue? What's the problem? Why hasn't Donald Trump been able to deliver on his promise to resolve this matter? Do you think that Putin has really gotten the upper hand on Donald Trump? Or do you think it's something more? Eric says, "Well, Robert, it's simple and set a sniffing young..." Oh, well, we have to be careful what we say in the comments, folks. We don't want to be too descriptive when it comes to minors. Yeah, we have to stay away from that comment. Okay, Mashona hits the nail on the head. She says, "We welcome your opinions. Please be respectful of each other and watch your language to respect YouTube policies." That's very important, folks. We don't want to lose our good standing when it comes to YouTube because we have a pretty good thing going here and we don't want to lose it, right? Bordeaux says, "All opinions are welcome. Please be respectful with your words in the chat." And thank you. Okay, so thank you. Gear Jammer says, "Trump's term isn't over yet. Everything takes time." Gear Jammer, that's a very good point. Do you think that this whole issue with Epstein is going to interrupt Donald Trump's term? What do you think? Or do you think it's a nothing burger? There's no there, and this is simply going to pass over? If any of you guys would like to come up in the interim, feel free to come up and discuss any matters that you would like in relation to Donald Trump. That's the subject at hand as we are about to get into this whole matter with the homeless individuals. Eric says, "Be kind, everyone." Thank you for that good reminder, Eric. Robert Wingate is back. Nice to have you back, Robert. He says, "Not a lot of people love him Anyone with intellect know he's a liar, cheater, and a thief. Okay, so far we have just a few people that are promoting Trump, but mostly individuals that are tired of the president, folks. Okay, Billy Elliott says, I'm from Ireland, I'm neutral. Donald occurred as the populists do when the political class fails the people and their wishes, then they vote. In John Cena, Rome was the same. Trump is the symptom. Okay. So there's a bigger problem. That's what Billy is telling us, folks. I think Billy is making a really strong point when it comes to the president. Gear Jammer says it's a nothing burger. Okay. So you think this whole ordeal with Epstein is just going to pass over? Okay. We'll have to see about that. Mashona says the opinions expressed in the chat are that of the person expressing them and do not reflect the views of the host. All right. Thank you. Thank you. GR. The West kept pushing NATO closer to Russia, violating a promise not to do that. Okay. Thank you. GR, where are you located at? The way you phrase that, it seems that maybe perhaps you're not in the West. Maybe not. Let's see. All right. Let's get to another video. Again, we're waiting on some individuals to come in to discuss about this homeless matter. If anyone would like to come up and discuss it as well, feel free to hit the link and come on up. But let's have another video where individuals are talking to Trump and the press is asking him some very straightforward questions when it comes to Epstein, folks. Let's check it out.
And those files were run for 4 years by those people. If they had anything, I assume they would have released it. The whole thing is a hoax. They ran the files.
All right, so Donald Trump is saying that this whole thing is a hoax. So basically, as we discussed before, Elon Musk, I believe he left around May, was it May 28th? And these files, I guess Donald Trump was made aware that his name was in the files several times, according to the Wall Street Journal. But it's interesting that Pam Bondi and Donald Trump both expressed, well, Pam Bondi initially said that the files were on her desk. But then Donald Trump and Pam Bondi came back and said there is no files. And now we have a different tune coming from the president. Let's check it out.
Running against somebody that ran the files. If they had something, they would have released. Now, they can easily put something in the files that's a phony. Like, as an example, Christopher Steele, a person you know well, happens to be from your country. But Christopher Steele, as an example, wrote a book, a dossier. We call it the fake news dossier. And the whole thing was a fake. The whole thing was a fake. They can put things in the file that are fake.
Okay, so do you agree with the president of the United States now, after saying 2 weeks ago that we do not have any files, or a list rather? Now he's saying that there is a list, but it's a hoax, and that these individuals have put things in the file. What do you think? Why does the president keep going back and forth? We have quite a few people here that are very happy with the president. Perhaps you two can chime in and tell us why is this the case? Deborah says, I took notes earlier, Mel. Okay, thank you very much. Gear Jammer says over 80 million people love Trump. Okay, that's a good point. 80 million. All right, GR says thanks. Okay, thanks. You're welcome. Randy Spencer says if he's not guilty, just release it. What a good point, right? They should really release it if there's nothing to hide. Van Meer says Donald J. Trump. So I take it that you are a big fan of Donald Trump, as many people in the chat are. Okay, Bordeaux says welcome and thank you all for being here. Please hit the like. Okay, thank you. All right. Deborah, Eric gives you a hi. That's awesome. Thank you. Gear Jammer says the Democrats are just angry because they got smeared last November. Okay. That's a good point, perhaps. But Gear Jammer, do you think that this was a reason perhaps for them to try to change the files and add Donald Trump's name? Do you think there's any validity to the statements or the claims that the president is making in this video. Mike says, Gear Jammer, 200 million hate Trump. Okay. All right. So we have some pushback for Gear Jammer when it comes to the president. Okay. Mashona, thank you very much. Randy Spencer, welcome to the chat. We appreciate having you here. GR says he's from California. Okay. So you actually live out west. Okay. Good deal. All right. Mashona says, shout out to you, Mike. Okay. Is it the mic that we have that's going to be coming up, or is it a different? Okay. It's a different mic. All right. We have Billy Elliott is back. Thank you, Billy, for the support. He says, this chat is awesome, guys. A really good chat. Okay. Thank you. What is it about it, Billy? Is because we have people from all different sides of the aisle able to get along and have some meaningful discussions about how we can elevate as people in general. That's a pretty good thing, right? Bordo says, thanks to you, Billy. So, Billy, you already have support from people in the chat. Gear Jammer says, Trump's promises are all coming true. Okay. All right. Perhaps you can expound, Gear Jammer, and tell us more specifically, what are some of these promises that you're referring to? Is his promises coming true when we're talking about Russia and Ukraine? And what is happening with Israel and Iran? It seems that a lot of the individuals from MAGA have taken a different turn. It seems that they're not really looking to support any type of war that Israel would have with Iran. At least that's what we're hearing from individuals like Tucker Carlson and even some of the old timers in the Republican Party. Have you guys noticed that in the media? Mike says, I watched Trump talk about the windmills earlier. I'm pretty sure that fool's brain is mush, and he was never smart to begin with unless it had to do with the real estate. Okay. So you think Donald Trump should stick to real estate, Mike? Is that the idea? Okay, Gear Jammer's back. He says Trump never visited Epstein Island. Okay. And again, that's something that we hear quite frequently in the chat. In fact, Donald Trump, I saw a video that he put out stating that very fact. But he did mention in that video that Bill Clinton had been to the island 28 times. Can you imagine that? Not saying that it's true or false, just an observation that we saw in the media. Okay, Jack says he's gonna pardon Maxwell. Okay. Do you really think that's true, Jack? All right. Well, it might be possible. Okay, Billy Elliott says, who is the dude that said Epstein belongs to intelligence hands off? Okay. Not sure who you are referring to, but very interesting in the answer of that question. So perhaps someone could help you with the answer for that. And Father says, Trump can't be trusted. Do you really believe that? A lot of people feel that way. He says Trump is a compulsive liar. Okay. All right. Okay. Gear Jammer says he doesn't need to pardon Maxwell. He has nothing to hide. He said to release the files. Okay. All right. Nothing to hide. Model Grill Dog says if he pardons Maxwell, the MAGA and the non-MAGA working class should come together to topple the capitalist superstructure. Okay. Very good. That's a pretty interesting point as well. Deborah says, I believe there is a list. Okay, Deborah. So, Deborah, do you think that there's a list and files, or do you think that it's just a list and no files, or vice versa? It seems that Elon Musk said that there was files, and then the government came back. I'm speaking namely of Pam Bondi and Donald Trump saying, hey, there's no list. And in my opinion, it was just it was a play on words. But do you think that there's actually a list or files, people? Most people in the audience are divided when it comes to this subject. Tristan says he is the worse than flip-flopping Mitch McConnell, right? Okay. Raj C says he's okay. All right. All right. We have a lot of comments, folks. I'm trying to get through it. Hopefully we have the individuals come in that were supposed to be here to discuss this bill. If not, we will continue. Naki says, whenever he's deflecting his job, he goes to words hoax and fake. Okay, those are common words by the president. We have Iman Hayes here for the first time. Shout out to you, Iman. Says, brainwash cult. Are you talking about MAGA? All right. A lot of people feel that MAGA is a cult. You know, the interesting thing about MAGA being a cult, as many people try to say, is that they have Epstein right in the center, because Epstein is the individual that Donald Trump was supposed to expose, right? For many years, the MAGA group, or especially the Republicans, have said that the Democrats were the ones holding back the news in regards to Epstein. But now it turns out that Donald Trump perhaps is in the middle of it. And I guess it clogs the wheel, folks. I guess it makes it very complicated for them. All right. Mike says, this guy's the dumbest president you've ever had. It's not even close. Do you really think that? Wow, those are strong words. Mashona says, I think he's trying to distract. He knows it looks bad. Okay. Raj C says he's the king of liars. Okay, we have a lot of people here very upset, not too happy with Donald Trump. Raj says he's guilty. And Father AFF says Trump is confused. Okay, he's confused. Okay. All right. Gear Jammer says Trump told them to release the files over and over. Okay. He has said that recently, but I think in this video and others as well, he's insinuating that perhaps this list is not as important, and people, especially those of MAGA who are falling way to the Democrats, should change their position and forget about this list. So it will be interesting to see what happens. Okay, Chris says, I'm from Scotland. Welcome from Scotland, Chris. Nice to have you here. Oh, and you just saw the president in Aberdeen. Okay, so what was that like? Chris, tell us all about it. I did see the video. I saw it hit the media that the president was cheating on a golf game. Is that what happened, folks? Or is that just the media trying to spin a bad narrative? Nowadays, you never know, but I'll have to investigate that further. I did see the video showing, or I did see the caption talking about the incident of how the president allegedly cheated on a golf game while he was there in your country, Chris. So thank you for the kind words, and thanks for participating in the chat. We hope you stick around and come back. Naki says, okay, he's okay. Father F says, Trump is too old, losing his cognitive capacities. A lot of people are saying that. They're talking about his hand and what else, his face or something. I'm not sure what that's all about, but it depends on who you talk to, Father. Some people don't feel that way. Jose says mass distraction of the masses. Okay, so it's all a distraction. And Pleasant Gift says he got booed. Okay, I'll have to check that out. He got booed perhaps while he was out of the country in Scotland. Okay, Gear Jammer says he's only said that a possibility. Okay, all right, very good. So we have a lot of great comments coming in. I'm going to pull up. Okay, let's see if we can get this on the stage. Let me take this down. How many of you have actually went through the bill in regards to the homeless that Donald Trump put out last week? In regards to, from what I can gather from the bill starts off talking about individuals who are committing various criminal acts. And then it says, well, basically, you have homeless people. 2/3 of the homeless people are the ones that are on drugs and basically committing a lot of these acts. And then the bill goes on to also describe how homeless individuals should be put into these institutions. Now, what I noticed on TikTok, I'm sure a lot of you guys are on TikTok, swiping away. A lot of the people on TikTok are saying basically, oh, this is just a way for the government to pick up people off the street and lock them away. I even saw a video where one man said distinctly that the government is taking people off the street, putting them in the homeless category, and then putting them in this forced work labor camps. It's like, where are you reading this in the bill? Is there any individuals in the comments or any of you guys of the belief that this is what's happening? Like, what basis would you have to believe such a thing? I don't know. Thank you guys for all the comments. Oh, we have a super chat from Brax in a box. Says, with so much hate and anguish in the world, I wish peace and love. We should leave politics and religion. Remember what John Lennon said. Okay, thank you, Brax in a box. It's interesting that you say politics and religion. Definitely when it comes to politics, we see a big division in the world. Definitely here in New York, I was shocked because I'm from the South originally, and I grew up in an environment where people were typically divided. I was shocked to see the same thing in New York. But I think with the climate, and I actually saw it more after Barack Obama became president, for some reason, the tensions really started to rise. But even here in New York, I see a big difference when it comes to people getting along, so to say, because of this whole politics and everything else that comes along with it. But you also mentioned religion, and religion is supposed to unite people. But I'm glad you mentioned that, because in many cases, if you follow the religions, you see that a lot of these wars that are happening, if you go back to the very root of it, it stems from religions, and one person is viewing a different God than his neighbor just across the border, and now they want to tear each other apart. So what a great comment. Thank you, Braxton the Box, for sharing your comment as well. I'm going to try to get through a few more of these comments. Okay. Father App says Trump got rich through tax evasion and bankruptcy. Okay, so you think he used bankruptcy to get rich? Okay, that's interesting. Gear Jammer says gas prices are down, diesel prices are down, food prices are down, tariffs are working. Okay, so the tariffs are working, and all the people that were saying the tariffs were a bad idea, are you saying they were wrong, Gear Jammer? Okay, Graham Rodden says, right. I remember when the war in Ukraine started by Russia stopped because as Trump became president, oh, wait, it's still going on. Okay, so, all right, thank you for that comment. But yes, it's still going on. And didn't he say he was going to stop that war on the first day, or at least get a handle on it? And from the video, it looks like we're nowhere near that. Okay, Young Cho says smoke and mirrors. It was a setup 3 presidents ago. Okay, all right, thank you. All right, hey, relax guy says I wouldn't trust Donald Trump with a glass half of full warm water. Wow, that's a low one. Okay, Annie says thank you, Mashona and Bordeaux from Belgium. Okay, we have a lot of people here from around the world. We welcome all of you guys. We appreciate having you here, and we appreciate the likes, the shares, and the subscription, folks. It's amazing. We have Jose Estrada here. He says, thanks. You're welcome. Okay. Nice having you here. Bordeaux says, oh, great. Okay. Pleasant Gift says, look up Katie Johnson, the 13-year-old girl, and find out what happened to her at Mar-a-Lago. Oh, wow. Haven't heard of that name before, but we will definitely look that up. Thank you for your comment, Pleasant Gift. Mashona says, welcome in and thanks for joining. We want to hear from you. We just ask that you be respectful to each other and watch your language in the chat and respect the YouTube policies. Okay. That's very important that we do that. Graham Rodden says, we have never released the files, so we can't say that. Okay. He has never released the files. Okay. Cast iron pans, talking about Epstein. Asheron, welcome. Welcome to all these new people in the chat that are participating. Says, of course, he's going to pardon Maxwell. They were friends for over a decade. That's a mighty long time. So you think there's a deal in the making? You think she'll be back on the street soon? Why is that the case? Is that normal for a person to be able to get pardoned so easily? We have to ask those questions. To the core says, the very well informed leader. Okay, thank you. Jose, mass distraction of the people. Okay, so what are they trying to distract us from, Jose? Tell us all about it. Cast Iron Pan says Trump is a friend of Epstein. Okay. All right. He's a friend of Epstein. Okay. We did show various videos here on the channel previously where Donald Trump and Epstein are together. Okay. Very good. Thank you for that comment, Cast Iron Pan. Gas Jammer says gas in Oklahoma is $2.34. Diesel in Oklahoma is $2.95. Okay. I wish we could get those numbers here in New York because the numbers here are outrageous, folks. Okay. Hey, relax guy says, of course, there's a list. It was on Pam Bondi's desk on certain. She wouldn't say she had the list if she didn't. Okay. So I think they've come back to the realization of they have to admit they have the list. And I think that now the strategy of Donald Trump is to say, well, we have this list, but it's a hoax. And it was made up by those rotten Democrats, right? That's basically what he's insinuating. And lo and behold, I just said rotten. And guess what? Grim Rotten is here as well. He says, LOL, yeah. There's no list that Trump isn't on. So Trump has made all the lists. Okay, thank you. Hey, relax, guy says Pam Bondi is so desperate for Donald Trump's little, how can I say that? Little 3-inch brick. Okay, that she'll say anything. Okay, not sure what that insinuates, but thank you for your comment. Father Ab says Trump probably got duped by Epstein. Too much of a womanizer or flirt. Okay, thank you very much. So, what do you guys think? Do you think MAGA is going to change their position when it comes to Donald Trump? I want to go back and show you a video. Let's have at it where we'll see how key individuals from Donald Trump's team are changing their position. We're going to start off with Alex Jones.
From the outside, the Trump administration campaigns on exposing this cover-up, blowing the lid off this cover-up. And then they get in office, and now it seems like they're part of this cover-up.
You couldn't do a bigger Streisand effect. You couldn't come out and say, I'm more guilty than what he did. And
So, did you ever imagine you'd see a day when Alex Jones would be talking this way about the president of the United States? He's probably one of the biggest Donald Trump's fans that I know of. It's interesting that he's taken this position. And guys, we have a lot of comments coming in. I'm going to try to get to as many of them as I can. So be patient with me as I work through it. Denise says, saving our children behind the scenes, no news agency broadcast. Okay, thank you for that comment. Welcome, and thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. I appreciate all of you guys. Hey, Relax Guy says, yes, and I do, and I don't give a F what your audience thinks either. Okay, all right. We'd have to qualify that to know exactly what you're talking about, but whatever it is, it seems that you standing on it, so I could respect that. Pleasant Gift says, we want to arrest from named individuals from the victims. Ghislaine, during the trial, never gave a name. Now she can remember 100 names. That's a good point. What made her change her position? Well, probably those the confinement of those cells. Ken Joe says there's a list, videos, and files. Okay. James Berry, welcome. Nice to have you here. Says, do you know They secretly funneled about $1 billion in the Better Business Bureau to redo his airplane from nuclear cleanup. The drunk at the Department of Defense put into a special account. Okay, James, I never heard that before. That's interesting concept. Okay. Um, hey, relax guy says mid Skeletor McConnell. Okay, talking about McConnell. Denise says, I think Trump is doing a good job. Okay, a lot of good Trump supporters in the chat. And welcome back. She says, I know Scotland well. Having been there several times, my husband loved this country. A pivotal year, this one. Okay, Sharice is back in the building. How are you, Sharice? Always good to see you here. We're seeing a lot of familiar faces or names, and some of you do have your faces on your photo, so that's awesome. It's nice to see you guys coming back. Gear Jammer says Trump just keeps winning over and over. Okay, we have a strong Trump supporter here. Jose is back. He says the list could be tampered with. Also, the elites of people in the Hollywood movie industry are buying time. Okay, what are they buying time from, Jose? Tell us all about it. Grim Rodden says, don't forget that if the Epstein files are fake, that means Epstein and Maxwell both went to jail for no crimes with no evidence. Wow, what a great point.
Loyalties to the truth. I'm actually autistic about it. I can't, even if I want Trump to succeed and the Democrats are my sworn enemy trying to put me in prison, I'm just like having to report this, that this is beyond insane.
Yeah.
And it's like Trump blowing his feet off with a 12-gauge shotgun.
All right, Alex Jones and comedian.
Okay, so Donald Trump has really gotten his base stirred up when it comes to his current policies. But I think what has them stirred up the most is all this hoopla when it comes down to the Epstein files. Okay, so
Tim Dillon got together for what they called an emergency podcast about the Epstein cover-up, during which they both criticized the Trump administration's sketchy handling of the Epstein files. Jones did his usual caveat, saying he sees no proof that Trump is implicated in the files and that he didn't actually do anything wrong. He went on a long tangent about how the Democrats likely added damaging information about Trump to the files when they were in power, which he would have no way of knowing if that's true or not. But he did go as so far as to call Trump's refusal to release.
Okay, so it looks like everybody is quite confused as to what's going to really happen when it comes to Donald Trump and the Epstein files. I'm seeing a lot of comments from you guys. Half of the audience is torn, saying that there is no big issue in regards to the Epstein files, but then a lot of people are saying that Donald Trump is basically guilty. Now, we know that being that he's on the list perhaps doesn't necessarily spell out that he's committed some serious crime, but it does make you wonder, what is all this about? Bordeaux says, peace and love to you. Billy Elliott says, while I don't agree with what you say, I would die to defend your right to say it. Okay, that was a quote. Okay, hey, relax guy says, MAGA makes, well, we can't say that type of language, guys. So if you could just rephrase that without using the curse words, that would be great. Denise says, Acosta. Okay, yeah, that's very interesting what happened with Acosta. Deborah Hill says all paperwork was by the West Palm Beach Police Department, given to the FBI. From there, we can only hope something still exists. Apparently, it's enough to be of concern. Okay. Thank you, Deborah. Deborah is always here showing support. It's so nice to have you around. Oh my, we have a lot of people here supporting MAGA and Donald Trump. Mark Roth says Trump is the president. Okay. Democrat is not no more. Okay. Thank you for your comment. Nice to have you here. Phil Mauricio says, you know why Trump discontinued the penny Don't you? Whose head is on the penny? Abraham Lincoln. What was Abraham Lincoln famous for? Freeing the slaves and abolishing slavery. He is a racist. Okay, so he says Donald Trump is a racist. Wow. Lori says Trump is the worst president. So it's amazing. We have both sides of the spectrum here as far as the viewpoints when it comes to Donald Trump. Grim Rodson says, release the files, Trump. Okay, you want those files released like most people. Gear Jammer says Trump is waiting for the files just like the rest of us. Okay. All right. Richard says he's the best president ever. A lot of supporters here for Donald Trump. Okay. Good deal. Richard says, well, actually, and Cotto says, did you watch the new South Park episode? No, I did not, but I will make a notation to check it out. And if it's something good, I'll share it with the audience. Pleasant Gift says Epstein was arrested and dies in prison while Trump is president. Epstein file is closed while Trump is president. Wow. Ghislaine testimony is blocked while Trump is president. Everything is pointing to Donald Trump from your comment. Very striking. Graham Rodden says, not upset. I'm just stating the fact, like in 72 degrees outside, and Donald Trump is a liar. Okay, a lot of supporters, and we have a lot of people that are very unhappy with Donald Trump. Okay, GR is back. Welcome back, GR. Hit the like button, double tap your screen. Thank you, GR. Nice to have you here, and thanks for promoting the channel as well. Denise says, so what were the libs then? The most dishonest ever. Okay, so she's not happy with the liberals. Okay. Kenneth says the man should be in prison. You're referring to Donald Trump, the president of the United States. Wow, that's a strong statement. George says in 10 years from now, it won't even matter. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. It might not even matter when it comes to this Epstein file gig. It may not even matter in about 6 months, really. It seems that people tend to forget things rather quickly in this day and time. Gear Jammer says Democrats are still angry over losing. It's just simple as that. You think that's what it means, right? AJ Gaiman says, my money is going up under Biden, straight 4-year drop. Okay. So you were losing money under Biden. Okay. That's, actually during Biden actually handed Donald Trump one of the strongest stock markets. I think when Biden left office, the stock market was raving, really, I'm telling you. The numbers were staggering. But the market is doing pretty solid right now, too, so I can vouch for that. Father says these files will have Trump impeached. That's very likely. I guess it could happen. Anything is possible. But Donald Trump has survived so many ups and downs. I think it may not be as easy as you would think it to be. Jose says it's not easy making America great again, especially with all the corruption. Okay. All right. There's a lot of corruption indeed. Pleasant Gift says Epstein was arrested and dies in prison while Trump is the president. Okay. Thank you for that comment. I think that was a repeat. Okay. Grim Rodden says, yet it won't matter in 10 years from now because we didn't do S about it now. Okay. All right. That's how you feel. Nothing's being done to address these matters. Okay. Billy Elliott says, I see that spirit here. Okay. All right. Thank you, Billy, for your expression. Okay. GR says, yes, he cheated. You think Donald Trump cheated? Is that your point? Okay. All right. Very good. Catherine, nice to have you here. It's a new name I haven't seen before. Thanks for participating. She says, Trump is an anchor baby. Okay. He's an anchor baby. First time I've heard that one. Lori says, if Trump is talking, he's lying. So everything he says, he's lying to the people, right? You can't trust him. Okay. Marlene Bali says he's a kindergarten president. Oh, wow. Thank you for your expression. Thanks for being here, Marlene. It's nice to have you. And Nathaniel says he's never be in Ireland. Okay, you would never have him there. Okay, thanks for tuning in all the way from Ireland. We have a lot of people here from all over the world tonight, and it's such a good feeling to hear your expressions. And people are concerned from all over in regards to Donald Trump and everything else that is going on in our country right now. Pleasant Gift says Donald Trump has always liked young women, which is why he purchased Miss Teen USA in 1996. Buying a teenage beauty queen pageant is a totally normal thing for a 50-year-old real estate developer to do. That is a very intriguing comment. Gear Jammer says Democrats can't accept the fact that they lost such crybabies. The election was even close. Okay. All right. Jeff is new here. He says he cheated like the crook he is. So you think Donald Trump is a crook? We have a lot of people. We have a great mixture here tonight, and everybody is expressing themselves, and I think it's a great thing. GR says obvious that he cheated. Okay. Deborah is expressing herself tonight. Thank you, Deborah. She says the TB Rays playing the Yankees tonight. Mel, go Rays. Okay. Deborah, you're a Rays fan? Okay. Jay says there are countless eyewitness stories about how Trump cheats on the golf course. Next year, you're going to tell me Trump doesn't poop. Okay. That was humorous. Okay, thank you. Jose is back. Jose says Trump is good. It ain't easy doing what he's doing. Okay, I can imagine it takes a lot to run the office, the top office in the world, folks. Marlene says president should be no older than 70. Okay, well, the last two presidents have been well over the mark. G-Man says, thank God sent Trump, so slow the plan of the devil. Okay, so are you saying that Donald Trump is an agent of God? Okay, that's the first time that I've heard that one. Jose says, together we can make America great. Okay, that's the spirit, Jose. If we work together, we can definitely elevate the country, right? All right. Well, we've covered a lot of comments. It looks like we're going to have to reschedule the whole breakdown when it comes to the bill because I really want to go through the bill with a few key individuals, but they're having issues getting here on time tonight. So we're going to reschedule it. But in the interim, we will continue to cover the latest news that's happening, folks. And most of the time we cover the stock market as well. So if you'd like to stay tuned to hear about some of the points and some of the different stock picks that we have, I think it would be very beneficial for you. And let's see if I can actually show you one here, if it's still available. I'm going to try to show you guys something here. Let's see if I could find it here. Okay, so remember Donald Trump mentioned Palantir as one of the stocks in the video that we started off with. And so if you look at the numbers here, as far as the date, back in July of 2024, that's when I recommended the stock Palantir to people on Facebook and on a few other platforms. And look where Palantir is now, is at $158. Well, actually, I think it's up to 60 something or 170 now. So it's actually went up a lot more. So these are some of the matters that we cover on the channel. A lot of people are very interested in trying to learn the stock market or come more familiar with the stock market. So we will be covering these topics. And also a few people have been asking about issues that come from credit repair. That's not a service that's offered, but we do have discussions of ways that you can overcome these type of challenges, especially when you're buying a home, which is one of the biggest investments that you'll have in life. And when you think about the stock market, you also should factor in a lot of the points that we covered tonight. We have to look at, wow, we have a lot of comments rolling in. I might cover a few more before we leave. But you have to factor in the president's policies, especially when it comes to Russia. I think he gave Russia 50 days to straighten up. But today, in the video we showed, he's saying that he's going to take away some of that time. Oh, we have Fates in the building. Fates, thanks for showing up. Thank you for the support. Fates says, hey, all, please don't forget to hit the like button. Oh, what a great supporter. Thank you. Nice to have you here. Jose says, I got XRP. The economy is waiting for November. You think November is going to be the defining moment? Okay, a lot of people are saying get. Okay, I think I looked at XRP. I think it's down to around $2 or something, I believe. Diesel Chicago says big crook. Okay, he's talking about more than likely Donald Trump. Okay, we have Rita Garcia in the building. She says the corruption is here because the president that we have today and his administration, who are not experienced in anything they're doing, and all they're doing is filling the pockets with the tax. Oh, wow. So you think that's what's happening. Okay, Mashona says the opinions expressed in the chat are not that of the person expressing them, or are that of the person expressing them and do not reflect the views of the host. Thanks for joining. Okay, thank you guys. The chat is moving so fast. We have a lot of people participating. It's a beautiful thing. Thanks to you, Linda. Thanks for participating tonight. Is it Linda Palka? First time I'm seeing you here. Okay. And we have BB says, ask yourself, is Trump doing all the things the Dems wanted to do for the last 20 years? Okay. Sounds like you are supporting Donald Trump. A lot of Trump supporters are here tonight. Okay. We have Betty. Hello to you, Betty. Thanks for being here. Betty says the storm is coming. You cannot break away. We're watching the fall of evil cabal. So this spiritual warfare. So you think this is a spiritual thing. Okay. All right. Thank you, Betty, for your input. Tia says, when was America great? Can't you see how racist and misogynistic that statement is? Okay. Thank you, Tia, for your expression. Seems that you're new here. We hope you stick around. It's nice to have you here. Nikki says he's a convicted felon, and yet he's president. Okay, he's a convict, huh? So he couldn't vote because he was a felon, but he could be the president. That is quite interesting. Mike Ken says, is that a chick statue or a frozen pic? Okay. All right. Not sure exactly what that means. Justin says, I made a ton of money under Joe Biden. Exactly. I made a killing under Joe Biden too. Also, the market is popping now. So it's definitely a time for you to really research and get caught up in the market and make some good investments if you're able to do so. Justin says, the new Teflon Don. Okay. He must be referring to Donald Trump. Rita Garcia says, President Trump doesn't release the files because he's guilty of being one of them, and he's afraid of the American people to see who he truly is, a liar. Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you for that expression. And Tia says the women who were violated will still remember it, will still a matter to them. Okay. They said it was at least 1,000 people, right? Okay, Fates, thank you. Fates says hello to all. He's a big supporter of the channel. Thank you so much. Lee is back. Hi to you, Lee. Thank you. Jose says Jarius. So Lee says, congrats, MAGA. You're now known around the world as the cult that defends PDFs and billionaires winning. Okay, with the sarcasm voice. Okay, G-Man says no one realizes that Democrats judges have to allow the release to the public. Okay, so they're not Democrats, they're Democrats. Okay. Faith Karma says, didn't Trump stop the penny because it costs 6 cents to create. Not a Trump supporter, but like the facts. Okay. It's nice when you can look at the facts of a matter, even though you may feel a certain way about the individual. Good point. Detroit Coalition says, you know what's worse than a liar? People who defend the lie. Okay. All right. Good deal. Thank you very much. Brother Larry says Trump does business with a lot of different people, and that doesn't mean he did anything wrong. Okay. Okay. A lot of Trump supporters. Okay. Jose says, we the people, us together, one nation under God, will rise. Pray for the nation. Let's all make America great again. Okay. So Russell says hi to Mashona. Mashona, you have some people that are giving you a shout out. Okay. Mashona says, please be respectful and watch your language in the chat, or you will be timed out. We must respect the YouTube policies. Thank you. Okay. Well, we've covered quite a bit tonight, folks. We'll definitely be back on tomorrow at around noon. And I'll definitely have a solid discussion in regards to this homeless bill that Donald Trump has put out. We really want to break it down, and I know a lot of people shared comments, especially last night when it comes to this particular bill. So more than likely tomorrow night, we're going to go through the bill. I'll definitely make sure we have a solid team here ready to discuss it. Annika, that's a new name, says impeach the PDF. Okay. She wants Donald Trump. They want Donald Trump out of here. Okay. Deborah says, I just heard that about the plane. Okay. Thank you, Deborah. And thank everybody for their great support. And I look forward to going over some of the latest news tomorrow at noon, as we normally do every day. But I appreciate all the support that we get from the channel. We have people here from all over the world that are very much interested in understanding what's happening with our president, especially when it comes to Epstein, and also even with Elon Musk, and more importantly, Donald Trump, and where our country is actually going. Edgar says Epstein died while Trump was in office. Okay. Sharice Brewster says, yes, I think it should be a better lead who care for America. Okay. So you think we should have a different president. Okay. So thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Like I said, I'll see you guys tomorrow at noon. And I really love all the support that we're getting, and everybody enjoy their night. And I thank you.
Different voices, but the same song. Living a world where we all belong. Kindness leading the way, breaking the chains. In the symphony of love, the thing remains. Embracing diversity, brighter days in sight. Watching the world sharing love and light. Hearts beating as one in our peaceful flight. Colors of harmony, painting the night. United we stand in love's pure might. Painting the night. United we stand in love's pure might.